Good morning. This is Mike Kobzeff over at Western Republic Insurance Services. And this morning, I thought I would share with you one of our recent use cases for one of the roofing contractors that I work for. So I had written his workers' compensation and his auto in the past, and he had a general liability renewal coming up, and he was kind enough to let me take a look at his policy. I did a deep dive into his policy and I discovered some interesting things. Let me show you. So it looks like his pricing was roughly $12,100. That's a great price based on $1 million in gross receipts and $213,000 in field payroll. His carrier was rated A-7, not the most stellar, but enough to fulfill most of his contracts. But the major issues were his major policy limitations that we found within. Essentially, he had some exclusions on there that no roofing contractor should have. I mean, they're extremely dangerous. So, and giant holes in the policy. Let's take a look here. So he had an open roof exclusion. Now, as a roofing contractor, you can understand how often are you going to have a roof open? Very frequently. And in the event of water damage, you could be looking at a very serious claim. This is a massive hole in your policy and not something you want to have on there. He also had a roof collapse exclusion. Again, you can imagine if you're working with roofs all the time and, for instance, there's a big snowstorm and your roof ends up falling down and, causing third-party liability damage, you're going to be looking at a very serious claim. Again, this is a major hole in a policy that you do not want to have. He also had a size restriction, which was limiting the size of jobs that he could actually take and have coverage for. So this is not the best type of policy, but again, that's why it was priced the way it was. So I explained these things to him and we provided the best option that we could in terms of price and coverage. Now, our pricing came in at $14,661. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but he actually has some insurance coverage that he might actually need in the event of a claim. So let's take a look here. Our carrier was rated A8, so a little bit better rating, both on the financial side and in terms of carrier rating itself, based on the same numbers. But major policy limitations, as you can see here, there were 0. Now, there's always exclusions on a general liability policy, but in terms of major policy limitations, there's nothing that, he can essentially go to sleep at night knowing that he's going to be covered for the majority of things that in which claims might arise. And so, sometimes when you're paying a little bit less, there's a reason why. And if you actually want the peace of mind of good insurance coverage, sometimes you got to pay a little bit more. In this case, my client was happy to do so, and we were able to set him up with this new policy and going forward. So good news, and I'm happy to share this little use case with you, and we'll do some more in the future. I look forward to sharing them with you. Thank you. Take care.